Hi, gorgeous. Hi. Welcome to the Women Leadership Series. So today I have an incredible guest that I know for a while. So her name is Karine Aristide. She's a personal development and mental health specialist. She's also a behavior consultant and certified speaker. She's a pastor. She's an author. And she's a founder of She's Community, a network for women entrepreneurs and women leaders, helping them to grow professionally and personally. Welcome, Karine.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Gaelle. This is a real honor.
Oh,
And so I'm excited for this conversation together.
me too, because I know it's really your expertise, mental health. And this month is a mental health awareness month. I think it's such a great topic to dive into it.
That's
And so,
right.
for you, because this is your data, this is your job, okay?
Yes,
Let's say it. Okay,
exactly.
what is mental health and how would you define it?
First of all, I think it's very important to start here. This is in my work, I always start there because there's a lot of misunderstanding and confusion, really, when it comes to mental health. And so I personally go by two very amazing definitions, and I always start with that. There's the World Health Organization that has an amazing definition of mental health. They say that it's a state of mental well being and it helps us to cope with the stresses of life, normal stresses of life, realize our abilities, learn well, and also work well and contribute to our community. And it also talks about how mental health is really an integral component of our health and well-being, right? So it really like underpins our individual and collective abilities to, for things like making decisions, building
Yeah.
relationships, shaping the world that we live in, right?
It's
and
true.
and also I love the fact that they talk about it being a basic human right,
Oh,
right?
wow.
Yes, because it's really crucial, for our personal, community, and socioeconomic
Yeah.
development,
It's so true.
right?
Mm.
So yeah, and then the mental health, the Canadian Mental Health Association definition that I also borrow from, and what I like about their definition is that they talk about that mental health is more than the absence of a mental health condition or illness, right? So as we saw with the World Health
Yeah.
Organization definition, and it talks about how it's a positive sense of well-being, and also that our capacity to enjoy life,
Ah.
and deal with the normal challenges that we face every day,
Mhm.
right? So it's really really important to have that understanding of mental health, because there's so many things that we go through, so many factors in our
Yeah.
lives, that really are kind of seed beds, you know,
Yeah. Yeah, it's
if
true.
we don't have the right definition of what mental health is, that we all have it, right?
Mm.
So when we face things or when it's challenged, we understand that we're on a continuum. So it doesn't
Mm.
mean that it's going to stay like this, you know.
Yeah, no, it's true.
So
Absolutely.
exactly, right? So it's a positive way of seeing it, and this is what I kind of stress when I educate
Yeah.
and teach about it.
No, I love it because you have this kind of polarities of both definitions.
Mm,
Capacity to enjoy life, but also capacity basically to deal with the stresses of life.
yeah.
And I think it's great to have such a clear definition because sometimes it's true, we can get confused.
Yes. Happens a lot.
Yeah, so so
Yeah.
now it's good we have this definition. So now, how can women leaders
Hmm.
nurture basically their mental health
Yeah.
while being visible on social media?
Yes.
I love to have your your point of view about it because I know
Yeah.
social media they don't
That,
like it too much.
that's right. Well, there's a lot of things that we can talk about this. We can, share till the cows come home about it. But I think there's four things that I want us to
Okay.
kind of, drill on or, kind of
Yeah.
specify. So the first thing is the importance of setting proper boundaries, right? So, because we're talking visibility.
Mm-hmm.
So visibility is not just an online thing, right? So it's important to have a balance between the online visibility and then the offline visibility.
Okay.
So, being involved with other, now that the world is open back up again, we're able to have that balance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Between not necessarily, because sometimes one of the reasons why people don't like social media is because they feel like they have to be on it all the time,
Yeah.
right? And there's a narrative that to be effective, you have to be top of mind, which I understand and I agree. However, there are ways to be top of mind. So setting boundaries is really important
Yeah.
so that you don't feel like it's sucking you in, right?
Yes. Yes. It's a very good verb for that. This is what the way they feel a
Mhm.
lot. Yeah.
So yes, so that's one thing. And then the other thing is, one of the ways to kind of enjoy it more is to choose or create positive online environments, right?
Mm-hmm.
So choosing to view or to be involved in content that's inspiring, that's uplifting, to
Mm-hmm.
combat that negativity and the stress that comes with the pressure of being
Yeah.
visible, right?
Yeah. It's a
There is
pressure. Yeah.
pressure,
Yeah. No,
whether
no,
you like it or not, right?
exactly. It's very interesting that you're talking about pressure,
Mm,
but
yeah,
because if you really put boundaries, you can really reduce this pressure because you
absolutely.
choose what you want. But I love the fact that you put pressure. Okay, okay,
Next
okay.
thing is about being authentic, right?
Ah,
So,
I love that.
being genuine and true to yourself really helps to alleviate that pressure, because part of the pressure is to maintain a sort of facade, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
Hmm.
you kind
Yes.
of, and there's comparison and there's all that kind of stuff, right? So to be true to yourself and being genuine is one of the most important ways,
Yeah.
that you can really show up well, right? So, for example, um, part of the facade that we can feel like we need to it's we're gonna be real, okay? Like
Yeah.
we're Black women, okay? So I'm sure it's the same for other ethnicities, but the reality is, we got the hair thing, we got, the makeup thing, that, all that stuff, is like that can be really like intimidating, right? And so if you for yourself you choose to go another route. For example, I always take the example of um, um, Alicia Keys,
Yes.
okay, how when she first started her career, it was the whole shebang and everything, and
Yeah.
then at some point she was like, you know what, I'm done.
Yeah, it's true. That's what she
I'm
said.
done. So now she doesn't wear makeup. She's just being real and
Mm.
being herself. And so that really inspired me because I'm the type of person I hardly wear makeup. You know what I
Me,
mean?
I don't wear makeup right now.
We're both of us, exactly, right? And so I think finding what makes you you, what makes you genuine is important,
Hmm.
and breaking that barrier and doing it. Whatever people are thinking. One of my mentors talks about being delivered from goop. Okay, so goop stands for good opinion of other people.
Oh, it's a good one.
Yeah. And so the reason sometimes that we get into these facades or these modes is because we don't want people to judge us. We
Yeah.
want people to, have this sense of who we are and things like
Mhm.
that. So that's why finding out what's true for you, what's good for you, and sticking to it and making a statement about it will deliver you from goop.
That is a really
Absolutely.
good one. It's a really good one. I love it.
So the
I
last thing is prioritizing the self-care, right? So really, like, me, I'm a proponent of me time, right? So having space where there's no social media, no phone, no nothing, I actually prefer like being in a space where there's even total darkness, you know,
okay.
and to really connect with me,
Yeah.
right? And to be in touch with what's really happening with me and how I want to show up in the world on a day-to-day, right? So that really helps to reduce the stress, and it
Yeah.
really promotes, the well-being that is really the foundation of life,
Yeah.
right? So but if, for example, you do have to be on social media a lot with your work, just take intentional breaks, right? To really recharge, go for a walk, read, not on a Kindle, and have an actual book.
Yeah.
Things like that, so that you're really disconnecting and unplugging to recharge and reboot.
Okay. No, I really love what you share because I think it's really this fact that we have to disconnect from technology and from the
Mm-hmm.
online world, really to reconnect, really to feel even more present and grounded.
Yes.
So I love this aspect regarding self-care, but also that you have to be aware of the pressure out there to be a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to detach yourself from it, because
Yeah.
being authentic is exactly that, is being true to your personalities, to your value and character,
Yeah.
regardless of the pressure you're under to act otherwise.
Exactly.
So authenticity, I'm completely on board on it. This is such a big value for me, and I thank you so much, basically, for your inputs. So I would like to know, what is your relationship now with visibility?
Yeah. So I would characterize it as a love and hate relationship. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, hear me out. So
Yeah.
so you know what? I love the impact, that I can have, on people when I share my expertise, when I advocate for important issues that I care about, when I
Yes.
can inspire change, all these opportunities to really see positive outcomes is what I love about it, right? Because it gives you that chance to shine, really,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But then there's the aspect of, the scrutiny that comes with it, right? So it's really just the attention that you create, the potential for criticism and judgments and all that stuff, that can really impact your mental health, right? so
Yes.
so
Yes.
you know you can definitely feel like a lot of frustration, and just, because of the fact that you don't want your life to be all constantly exposed, right? So that aspect I don't really, care
I
for.
can understand. I can understand that. This is completely
And it goes with the goop thing, right? So it's, just, but once you're delivered from goop, that aspect kind of helps a lot.
yeah, I think interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I love the connection. So I love connected with other people from all over the world. That's what visibility does. Because if nobody sees you, don't know what you're doing,
Yeah.
how in the world are you able to really get these, shared experiences and learn from each other and empower each
Oh,
other? I mean, look at us. I'm in Canada, you're in the UK,
yeah.
and that connection that we've built over the years, like, wow, it's so beautiful. And really, it's due to visibility that
Yeah.
we came
Yeah.
together. That's the truth, right?
Yeah.
But then, it's like the other aspect that's kind of uncomfortable when it comes
Mhm.
to that is, you know, and I was speaking to a client about this the other day as she was giving a talk, and there was aspects of her life that she didn't really want to share, right? So personal
Yeah.
details and stuff like that, in a sense that, like she knows that it was a bright thing to do, but it puts you in a state of vulnerability,
Oh,
that
yes.
sometimes we don't appreciate. we,
Yeah.
we have to get over that hump, of being vulnerable,
Mhm.
right? So that's where, but you can't have connection without vulnerability. That's just the
Yeah.
reality. So some people will connect with you due to the fact that you shared that detail,
Yeah.
that is maybe, very like it makes you feel exposed, right?
Yeah.
But of course you can choose what and how you do it,
Mm.
the spaces that you do it in,
Mhm.
but the reality is sometimes you need to do it because someone needs to hear it, someone needs to identify with it, and that'll lead an amazing positive change in that person's life.
I think it's quite interesting what you're saying because there is a kind of middle ground between sharing about yourself in terms of visibility and being vulnerable,
Yeah,
but not to the point that overexpose yourself and
that's
to be
right.
affected in terms of mental health.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so, there's an aspect of empowerment that personally I love.
Yeah.
I love, when I'm able to break through and reach, a certain place, go through some obstacles, come out a winner,
Yeah.
and then be able to be an example for other people, and
Mm.
that's the whole idea behind She Did It, so she did it, I see that she did it, so then I can do it too,
Yeah.
despite my issues, despite my struggles, despite what I've been through, right?
Yeah.
And so, but it requires visibility to have that impact in the world, right?
It's quite interesting because when you think about it, it's like you need to heal first so you can
Yes.
share basically your vulnerability and be in a
Mhm.
position where you can really inspire people and make this impact you want to the world. So it's
Yeah.
like there is this natural process of healing that
Mhm.
you have to go through, but also to accept it in a certain way.
Absolutely.
And you did it with all your story, with everything happened, and that's why
Yeah.
basically you love so much helping people doing their things. But
Absolutely.
I think it's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's much more deeper than we may think because it's saying you want to be healthy, you want to look after your mental health, you want to make an impact, you want to be visible, accept to heal.
That's it. And also sometimes you're not fully healed. Like that's just what it is. And
Yeah.
there's an aspect, there's a beauty in being a wounded healer, you
I
know.
know.
There's beauty in that because then it's not about perfectionism, it's not about having it all together all the time, right? It's really about a journey that we're all on, sharing our spaces together so
Yeah.
we can grow together. And sometimes I'm in a space in my healing journey that someone has already went through, right?
Yes.
And sometimes somebody could be still in the space of healing in that area, but a conversation can make all the difference in the world,
Yeah.
right?
I do agree. I do
Mhm.
agree. But I think it's beautiful to recognize it.
Yeah.
To recognize this healing process that we all going through
Yeah.
at different degrees. And it's such, I think, an essential element in mental
Mm,
health for your mental health as well.
yes,
That I think we don't touch upon so much. So I'm so glad
that's
basically that
right.
by speaking with you, we're talking about that. One last question. Let me
Yes.
look at my notes. Yeah. So it's how can women leaders claim back their agency with
Mm,
their mental health?
yes. So I think, there's a lot of things that we already touched on, the idea of being self-aware of
Yeah,
really what's happening and, owning what is happening in our lives and also owning our time as well,
yeah,
right? Because sometimes because there's a lot of things that we could get into. There's a lot of, spaces. But the thing is, sometimes, and I know many of us have been in these situations where, we're in a space where we wanting to grow and we're wanting to impact, and we get into certain things thinking that's what we need, and it happens that we already have it inside of us, but we didn't realize that we had it. So we went out, paid $10,000 for a course, but but
It's
because
happening.
we didn't have that self-awareness and saying, you know what, those are the tools that I need, that I already have. The tools I'm looking to get, I already have.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so how can I go with what I have? And then once I'm at a certain place, then I'm able to really have a sense of what I really need, instead of going with the, how can I say? It's almost like, when you're not self-aware,
Mm-hmm.
you're taking on certain things to bring you that self-awareness, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
if you have it first, then you're able to really make sure that what you're bringing in aligns with what
Yes.
is already there.
Yes.
That's the whole point. And so one of the things that I find so important for taking back our agency
Mm-hmm.
is to learn how to seek the right support, because there's some supports that will fuel the self the lack of self-esteem, right?
Okay.
Instead of reinforcing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why knowing yourself is the foundation. I always talk about the link or the intersectionality between personal development and mental health,
Yeah.
because it goes hand in
Right.
hand. You
Mm.
don't have one without the other. So if you focus on your personal growth,
Yeah.
from the inside out,
Inside out. This is
okay,
yeah.
focus on being before doing, then
Mm.
that is the best way to make sure that you take back your agency and you don't squander, yourself,
Mm.
and then coming to a place where, oh, you have to, refocus all the time, right?
Yes. Yes, but I really
Yeah,
love what you said because it's true. But we have been conditioned as well most of the time to look for external validation.
that's the thing. Yes.
And so we have to unlearn that. And so
Hmm.
do this inner work inside out.
Yeah.
Because most of the time we have a kind of inner guidance system, a very good GPS, I think, which is our
Yes.
intuition
Yeah.
and our
Hmm.
inner wisdom. And when you learn to tune into it, to have access to it, you
Yeah.
do realize that you have needs, but what is out there is not necessarily for you.
That's it. Exactly. But I don't want to paint the picture that you know, being a continuous learner is bad. It's very good. It's important to
Yeah.
continually learn and improve yourself. And sometimes, yeah, someone will have something that will help you to get to the next
Yes.
level. So having mentors and having coaches and having, people that come alongside you. But
Mm.
I really believe that you're the expert of your own mental health, of your own self. And so anybody that comes in alongside just serves as a guide. I like myself. I consider myself sort of like a midwife. So the wife, the woman, she is pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
and so she's the one who's more in tune with what is happening inside of her,
Yes.
right? I'm not inside there as
Mm-hmm.
the midwife, but I'm there to support and guide and give tools so that the birthing can happen, right? But
Mm.
she's the one who's going to be birthing that baby, not me, right? And so that's kind of how I see it,
Mm.
when it comes to working with a client, even though, yes, I'm considered the expert, but I also consider the person an expert in who she is because
Yes.
she's the one who's in her body, not me. So
Mm.
what works for one person may not work for someone else. So if you're basing your mental health on, whatever is out there, the narrative that's out there, and the whatever is being spewed at you, without knowing how you
Yeah.
jive, So for example, when we talked about the whole social love-hate relationship with social media, the reality is, I'm both reserved and outgoing. So that's where the dichotomy comes, right? Because it's really important to know that, and to respect yourself, whenever you're in a certain situation where, okay, is this the outgoing me, how's the outgoing me feeling, how's the reserved me feeling, and I'm not going to feel guilty if I choose the reserved me, in a certain situation, because I'm still honoring myself.
Yeah.
Right? And so as opposed to, seeing some people that are constantly on social media, constantly posting, constantly doing videos, and I could look at it and be like, I should be doing this, like I have the capacity to do this, and then it's like, you know what? No.
No.
Find what's right for you when it comes to your visibility, right?
No, I love it because the way I teach visibility to my clients is really to be visible on your terms.
That's it. I love it.
And
Yeah.
and really in alignment with your personality, because we all have these polarities when you can be an extravert, very extravert, and another side we can really be introvert, and you want to be in your blanket with
Yes.
chocolate or whatever, and you want just to hide from the world. And I think
Yeah.
it's important when you're authentic to respect both sides of
That's
your
it.
personalities.
Absolutely.
And you still can be visible even if you're in your blanket. Automation is existing for you.
Exactly. That's
So,
it.
so you have all the time different ways and alternatives.
Yeah.
But I think what matters is really to look after your mental health. And I love the way you really explain it to us. Is there anything else you want to add for all women watching this replay later?
Yeah, I you know what? Just be true to yourself, and really focus on learning to be before you do, right? So find out what that means for you. What does that mean to be for me? And then from that place, you take inspired action. So all the actions that you'll be taking will be based on honoring that personhood of who you are, because you're meant to change the world and make history. That's the fact.
Yeah.
So you need to really make sure that you're doing it on your own terms.
Thank you so much for this beautiful piece of advice.
You're welcome.
Where can we find you, Karine, if anyone wants to know more about you?
Yeah, so Karine Aristide is really my handle on most socials.
Okay.
But if you go to karinearistide.ca, you'll get all the socials in one spot and a few other links that you can check out.
Okay. You are on LinkedIn anyway. So
yes, I am. That's true.
So, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for your presence, for your expertise. I do believe that mental health has to be a priority for all of us.
Absolutely.
And I'm so glad that you help us with practical tips and your wisdom to do exactly that.
Oh, thank you so much again for having me, Gaelle.
It was a joy. It was a joy. I'm sending you so much love. Garjus, I'm sending you so much love as well. And I will see you next month for another interview series. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.